Let's go Woody. I'm sorry, I missed Woody. We got Woody and then Mark over here.
Woody Kane with MRN. Kyle, a lot of guys still talking about the differences in the trucks with the way the bumpers don't match up in the draft and keeping you from bump drafting. Can you describe the difference between how you have to drive the truck like that versus the car, and anything new on the truck sponsorship front?
Well, here's something that's kind of funny is Daytona, you can't run a bunch of front shock, a bunch of front rebound that holds the splitter close to the ground because the trucks will just burn the front tires off because the track's so rough. So you don't run that. So when you come off the corner, the trucks hike up and they have 5 inches between the splitter and the racetrack. So the bumpers don't really line up. No. Here, when you come here, though, you can run so much front rebound to keep your splitter on the racetrack to keep the truck out of the air that the front bumper, where on a Toyota truck it says Toyota, it goes under the back bumper of the truck in front of you. So you're actually knocking the grill to the bumper, which is fine. It works. It's okay. So as long as you keep your nose low enough and that guy's butt is high enough that, you know, they kind of go, they work together, at least here. So you can push, you can bump draft here. You can still get guys crazy and out of control. It's easy to do, so you got to be careful when doing it. But last year I remember I pushed Mike Skinner to the lead by bump drafting him down the backstretch. I think it took me 5 laps to do it, but we finally got there. So you can do it. You just got to know how to do it. And as far as Kyle Busch Motorsports is concerned on sponsorship stuff, like I said, you know, a lot of good talks. Nothing else has been sold yet, but if I can sell everything that if I've talked to a lot of people, and they tell me, you know, we got about this much money to spend. If I can sell all that, I'll have 22 races sold. So I'm working. I'm trying. It's all about getting the right people to say yes.
Okay, let's go Mark, and then Reed, and then Rusty.
Mark Carroll, PRN. Kyle, by and large, we're almost done through the season, the first year of Have At It Boys. How do you feel that's all worked out, and has it been a positive, and you guys have all learned to live with it okay?
I think it's been all right. You know, it's probably not done yet this year. You know, we still got 4 more events to go, so there's plenty of time for guys to get crazy and mad at each other, but myself included, I guess. But you know, it's been fun. It's been a way that us drivers can police ourselves a little bit more than maybe NASCAR stepping in. But I think it's gone well. You know, there is a point at which NASCAR does need to step in, and they have. And it's good to show that you know, that they will still prove that they have the most control. You know, us drivers can do what we want to do all day long and wreck each other every weekend, but there is going to be a point in which NASCAR says, all right, idiots, figure it out. You know, this is over with. So it's good to have that.
Have you seen both sides of it this year where somebody's done you wrong, you did a little something to take care of it, you've obviously been on the other end of it.
Right.
Can you talk about the balance that you've been in personally this year?
Yeah, I mean, there is a balance there, and I think you're always going to feel like you're always one behind. You know, you're always going to feel like the scorecard isn't even. My brother said it last weekend. You know, he's been wrecked by Jeff Gordon however many times, and he's done it back to him once, and he still feels like the scorecard isn't even. You know, so I've got that same thing with other drivers. You know, I've been wrecked by them a few times, and finally I get back at them and do something to them, and it's like, then they want to come back and pay me back because they didn't know the scorecard wasn't even. So it's like we all need to sit down at the beginning of the year and figure out how many times everybody needs paid back. Look, all right, I'm going to wreck you 5 times this year, so just plan on it, all right? And then somebody tells me, I don't know, but no, I'm just making up shit.
Let's go with Reed, Ron, and then Claire.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. John, as a follow-up to Bruce's question, Jeff Gordon said during the week that if you guys could run data acquisition on Friday, you wouldn't need to test. And first of all, since you guys already have that technology, pretty much everybody does, do you agree with that, and would you be in favor of that?
Yeah, I don't see that as a problem one bit. You know, especially the nationwide side. We learned a lot when we went to where'd we do that? Charlotte. We did that at Charlotte. We ran a practice day the day before or something like that, and had our data in, and then at night, you know, you take the data off and you put lead back in the car for all the weight that the data is, and you go out and practice again, qualify, and race. So I don't see that as being a problem. I think it's actually pretty good. I think the only thing that you're worried about there is obviously CG, you know, your weight of the car, having all that stuff in there and what have you. It's going to be too for some teams and crew chiefs it's going to be too high, but the problem is you're going to qualify with it. So I'm not sure that you really want to qualify with data on the car, but I mean there's no reason why you can't, but just being able to get it out before Saturday's practices is a good idea.
Let's go Ron, Claire, and Shannon.
Ron LeMaster, Zone MC. Kyle, having Joe Gibbs as a car owner, what does he bring to the table as far as knowing how to react in a championship, or what kind of a boost can he give you being through all that, even though it's in another sport?
Well, he's got a lot of experience of being with young guys and teaching them the ropes of a lot of different things, whether it's life circumstances, whether it's career circumstances, whether it's money circumstances, anything. He's got a lot of invested in this race team, and so being the leader of the race team and bringing him in to the role that he's been since coming back from football. Before when he was at football, he didn't really do a whole lot, but since coming back, he's been in the day-to-day stuff a lot more, and he's a great leader. So you listen to what he's got to say, because most of the time it's pretty viable to you, and if you know how to use it, or if you listen to it correctly, you can think about it and use it down the road.
Let's go Claire and Shannon.
Claire Belang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. Can you take us through sort of how you are behind the wheel at Talladega? You're always such an analyst of your own racing, and you're watching a lot of tapes and whatever. But when you actually get out there and all hell is breaking loose, and you're looking at all the relationships you have with the other drivers, how it feels actually, and how you strategize?
Well, I mean, you got to think about a lot of things. I mean, you think about how you work with other guys. You think about how well your car is working with the other guys in that particular day. You look around you and see, what guys, for instance, don't like each other, whether they're together, how are they working together, are they dumping each other off all the time, what goes on there. So there's always a lot of things that you look at and watch. I'm talking restrictor plate racing, not necessarily Texas or Phoenix, but, so you're always just kind of keeping your eye out and watching and taking everything in. And when you see stuff kind of getting crazy, or you see guys that don't like each other and they're bump drafting each other and they're getting squirrely or whatever, I tend to fall out and I'll go back and let things kind of sort out. The order will change, and then you'll try to work your way back up through there. So I did that a couple times in the spring. I was up front leading for a while, and then I got shuffled out, got back to 15th, was going to stay there and work my way back up, but I saw things getting a little crazy, 3 wide, a little bit 4 wide, so I went to the back. I said, I always press the reset button. I'll regroup, start over, come back up to the front. The other guys are not pressing the reset button at the same time I am, so it's not like you start over, but at least I kind of just reset a little bit and think about what's going on, think about where we are in the race, what tires I'm on. I don't know what tires anybody else is on unless my guys relay that information to me, or fuel mileage, where that's at. So it can all be so complicated that there's so many different things running through your head.
Is it insane and stressful, or is it
It gets stressful here at Talladega, and I'm sure a lot of drivers have said it too, is when you're done here, you are mentally exhausted. I mean, you literally are. Like, you get to the airplane. If you don't have a headache, you're lucky, and if you can go to sleep and kind of rest your brain for a few hours, then it's not a bad thing.
Final question, Shannon. Back that way, Jim.
Kyle, Shannon Spake, ESPN. Obviously, Denny running for a championship right up there with Jimmy. How much thought have you guys given to helping him out in the race, and how much time will you spend with him during practice over the next 2 days, like working with him and see how well your cars work together?
Well, we want to do the best we can for ourselves, too, to try to get back into the chase, and if those guys have trouble, be able to pounce on that opportunity. But we've talked about a lot of different things. We've talked a lot about a lot of different scenarios. And all you can do is be the smartest you can be in those type of situations on the racetrack come race day. But like today, we'll work together if we get out there together. It'll be no different than what we've done in the past. If we see each other out there, we'll see how well our cars work together. And most of that comes from the race. Practice, you're just kind of, I don't want to say lollygagging around, but you're just trying to make sure there's no rubs. Your splitter height's right. You're getting the travels you're looking for. You're making sure your car is to its optimums that you look for every time you come to Daytona or Talladega. And then once you get out there in the race, you more so pick who you can run well around. Does my car draft well with the 11 or doesn't it? If it doesn't, I'm probably not a guy he's going to want to come find at the end of the race. And, I'll try to find the other guys that I tend to run well with and see what happens.
Kyle, thank you so much. Good luck this
Oh,
weekend.
it was a pleasure. Appreciate it.
It was our pleasure. Thank you very
You
much.
got it, Kerry.